Hey, good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution, episode 1475. It is Monday. I am freshly shaven. I've got a wedding this coming weekend. Need a haircut today. Uh, Happy Monday. I'm on day, gosh, what is this? Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm starting day 10 of this crud. Day 10. I feel, though, this morning, like I feel like it's finally on its way out. Like every morning I wake up like, gosh, like sometimes it's just magical and it's just like, hey, I don't feel like shit this morning. But I'm still blowing my nose. I'm still congested. I can still feel it in my chest. Day 10 of this bullshit. Ugh. So this week, programming note, Thursday through Sunday, no Hobby Evolution. I'll be down in Florida. I was doing some searching. Looks like there's a card shop in Boca. So Friday, maybe if I have some time, I'll check out some card shops down there. Had a busy day of eBay Live yesterday and did well. My goal, my 2025 goal on eBay has been to grow my business 40%, which is huge. And I am now at 42% growth, 42% year over year. Had a decent day. Yeah, I had a really good day yesterday because of eBay Live. We did the progressive lots, but as with everything, I'm learning, and I'm learning more and more that niche auctions not the way to go. Curated, not the way to go. It's that surprise element, and I think it drives interest from people because if they can request. By the way, today I'm going live at 10 a.m. It's by request. We're just doing shell listings, and you want Shohei Ohtani, we'll bring you Shohei Ohtani. You want this, we'll bring you this. Baseball only though. 10 a.m. MLB Monday. Link in the description. And I learned that ×2 yesterday. I fell short of my goal yesterday, which I've only fell short out of, I've probably done what, 20 to 25 lives. I've only missed my goal a couple times in all of these auctions, which is pretty impressive based on I'm just starting. So I'm very happy with that. But I think yesterday, I fell short. I was really happy with a couple of the progressives, and then a couple of them were like, I think a couple sold for like $17, $18. I'm like, damn, because that ended up being, well, less than 50 cents a card. Now overall there was some stuff in there that's quarter box cards and a lot of dollar box stuff, but I was hoping to average $1 a card for the whole day, and I fell short of that. I think I ended up at like 70 to 75 cents on a per card basis, which is good, which is really good. And it's stuff that's just sitting around. So it's not like I went out, invested thousands of dollars and, came up short. So, but I don't think I'll do an entire auction of progressive lots. And here's why. It took me like all afternoon Saturday to curate those lots. So there's a lot of time that I banked into that. But sometimes I can just throw like, oh, you want to do a progressive lot? And I'll just start grabbing cards. And I feel like there's more excitement when it just pops up at the end of an auction. Like, all right, let's do this. So I mean, I'll probably do another lot auction, but not in the near future. At least not something that I'm going to curate like I curated yesterday. Now, it also took me longer to curate yesterday's progressive lots because my boxes for eBay Live auctions are very disorganized, and I was starting. So now I've got 4 rows dedicated by sport. Okay, football, and that way I can easily access either cards for lots or my single sales. So Every auction I'm learning and, going into live selling. And remember, I'd never done live selling on a platform before. So I thought I'm going to bring topical and curated lots to live selling. And that just doesn't work. It works, but it doesn't work to its best ability. And so these are things that you learn along the way. And the shell listings, while I know some people may want to see what, I know having preloaded listings drove at least one sale to my very first auction, my very first live auction, because I had Michael Jordan calling card. And somebody who collects calling cards came in because he saw it and he's like, I've never done a live. He sent me a message. He's like, I've never done a live auction. I probably won't do it again, but thanks for the calling card. If you get these in bulk, let me know. And so, I know it can drive on niche stuff like that. It can drive people to your live auction, but it seems like a lot of the buyers that are in the room, they like that. They like to call their shots. Like, I want Steph Curry. Okay, you want Steph Curry? Let's throw you some Steph Curry. And I have that flexibility to do that. Whereas last night, everything was preloaded. It's like, sorry, I don't have patch autos tonight. But if I do a request, which I'll probably do, 90% of my auctions will probably be shell listings by request, because there's not only are people interested in calling the shot, like, hey, I want patch auto. Okay, I got a couple that laying over here. But also it's less time for me on the back end, where it's like, well, I don't have to preload these listings. I can just grab, oh, you want an autograph? Oh, you want hockey? I got hockey. So yeah, moving forward, probably do that. My next live auction today at 10 a.m. Central. eBay Live, direct link to the auction is in my description to this video. So come join me if you can at 10 a.m. Central later this morning. It's baseball only. It's MLB Monday on eBay Live. I had alluded to something the other day that eBay's doing, and I talked to my wife about it, and because she's smarter than me when it comes to finances. And I talked to a good friend of mine who I lean on for a lot of business advice, and came up with the same answers, which were also internally, when I first got the email from one of my contacts at eBay, it's like, ooh, I don't know about this. So they're going to be kicking off Gem Thursdays, and it's basically high roller card, high roller cards, $100 and up. And that's just not my wheelhouse. But I do know from a financial standpoint, if I sell $100 cards, I'm going to make a lot more money than selling $100 $5 cards. But here's the problem. I don't know that market. And I don't want to invest. I have $100 plus cards, but they're in my personal collection. They're in that shelf behind me. I don't want to put those on auction. It's just, I don't want to learn a new market. I don't want to risk capital on something I don't know. It'd be like me going to buy a Pokemon collection. Like, it's just, that's completely out of my wheelhouse. Could I make it through? Could I eventually evolve Gem City Card Show? Absolutely. But I'm just not there yet. I don't want to dive into that market. No. Will I? I sponge it up, and I have an idea. I mean, when I'm at card shows, I have an idea what stuff. Okay, well, yeah. But like Maxis, stay in your lane. Exactly. And that was my first. You get excited. You get excited, like, ooh, maybe this could work. But deep down, and really not even deep down, it's like, no. So not going to do it. Not going to do it. Not only that, not only do I have to learn something new, but I have to source. I'm selling $5, $10 cards that I have thousands of already paid for. sitting right next to me in boxes throughout this room and in the room next door. I don't need to source my $5 and $10 cards, but I would need to source the higher end cards. And for that reason, among others, I am out. So, little eBay Live updates. I know that's all I'm talking about right now, but that's like consuming my life at this point. But it's also leading to more sales and higher sales. So that's where I'm at. You know what I did do though, on a non-eBay related note, and non-card related note, I don't know why, but the other day, it was Saturday. It was Saturday afternoon, because Saturday I was completely caught up and I didn't have any eBay Live until I did the pop-up show on Saturday night. But for whatever reason, Children of the Corn popped into my head. And it's a movie that it's like one of those nostalgia for me. I remember watching it with my cousin loved Children of the Corn. And so it's just always one of those movies, and it's like, Children of the Corn. So I'm like, I want to watch. Like, it's been a while since I've watched Children of the Corn. So I looked it up and I searched Children of the Corn. It's like, oh, it's on streaming on Amazon Prime. I'm like, hey, awesome. And I go to Amazon Prime and you got to rent it. I'm like, come on. I wish there would be like a little note, like streaming on Amazon Live for a price, or Amazon Prime, I should say. Then I went to, then it said it was also on Pluto, which is a free app. So I go to Pluto, and Children of the Corn, the original was not. I think the remake was on, and then some of the sequels, because they did like a ton of sequels. And I'm like, I'll check out Children of the Corn Part 2. I don't remember Children of the Corn Part 2. It came out in, I think, 1992 or 1993. It was actually pretty good. It's and maybe because I can relate. That sounds silly when I'm talking about children. I can relate to children. I can relate to the time period. There's a scene. A couple of the main characters, it's a father-son combo, and the son had a baseball jersey on, like Yankees jersey. I can't relate to that, but he had a baseball, and he was about the same age I was when the movie came out. So like I can relate to that fact. And but it was pretty good for a sequel. It was pretty good. So if you're into horror movies, Dan, I know Dan is. I don't know. Dan's probably seen it. I'm sure I've seen it. I know I've seen it. I just don't. I'm sure I saw it back in the 90s, and I don't know if I've seen it since until Saturday. There's also a Children of the Corn Part 3, which came out a few years later. And I think there's like, man, let's Google Children of the Corn. I know there's a whole bunch of sequels. Now, Children of the Corn is also, it's that like interesting dynamic, because I grew up in a rural area with cornfields everywhere. So it's like, ooh, Children of the Corn. So it's always like that. So Children of the Corn film series. Let's see. So was there a movie called Disciples of the Crow that predated Children of the Corn? So Children of the Corn came out in 1984. Book based off the story by Stephen King, Children of the Corn from 1977. Children of the Corn 2 released in 1993, January of 93. Children of the Corn 3, Urban Harvest, came out in 1995. Children of the Corn 4, The Gathering, came out in 1996. Now they're pumping them out every year. Children of the Corn 5, Fields of Terror came out in 1998. I remember this next one, part 6, because this came out when I was working at the grocery store, the IGA. And so I remember this coming to VHS. Children of the Corn 666, Isaac's Return, came out in the spooky season in October of 99. So that would have been my senior year of high school. Then in 2001, we had Children of the Corn Revelation. In 2011, 10 years later, we had Children of the Corn Genesis. Again in 2018, now they're like really staggering them out. Children of the Corn The Runaway came out in 2018. I think we're due for a new one. It's been 7 years. We had remakes, Children of the Corn, which was just a remake of the original, 2009, and in 2023 a reboot, Children of the Corn, 2020. So there you go. It was released twice, 2020 and 2023, probably because they released it during COVID. All right, let's go to the chat. So I just wanted to talk about Children of the Corn. Where are we at? Gem City says, good morning. Last week of school here in Quincy. Celebrate. Victor's in the house. Go Cubbies. We are celebrating with brooms. In Chicago, a sweep of the White Sox. Dan's in the house. What's going on, Dan? Jody is here. What's going on? Good morning. David's here. Good morning. Dan says, why are you going to Florida? I have a wedding. It's my wife's cousin is getting married. My wife's first cousin. My wife only has, we have completely different size families. I have like 33 first cousins. My wife has 2, and one of the 2 are getting married next weekend. Unicorn Cupcake, good morning. Tracy's in the house. Good morning. Left before lives were over. Hope they ended well. They did. Overall, I'm happy. Overall, they fell short of my goal for the day, but overall, I'm pretty happy. And I also need to be aware that I need to realize what I'm selling. And just because a 1985 Topps George Brett sells for $6 one day doesn't mean that it's going to sell for $6 the next time. It may only sell for $1. And I should be happy with that, because normally it's a dollar box card or a quarter card that will sell eventually. So I've been reaching out, and I'm looking for 80s football, because that's like something that I'm really lacking in my stuff. I probably have a bunch. I should probably go through my quarter boxes, because I'm sure I have a bunch of 80s football in my quarter boxes. So that's something that eventually in the next couple weeks, I want to start digging through some of those quarter boxes. Orlando, what's going on? Good morning. Cooters on I-35 heading to Fort Worth. Good morning. Mark's here. Good morning. Low Roller says, are you going to use eBay Live to stimulate on YouTube the same time? People prefer watching it on YouTube. There's a way to simulcast, and I haven't figured. I should probably reach out and ask how I simulcast. But I tried, like when I go into my console here, like simulcast is grayed out. And I think when I go live, it's because I don't have my channels set up, and I don't know where I go in to set those channels. And I actually did look at they send you like documents, like a bunch of PDFs on how to basically stuff. And I didn't find it in there, but yeah, I would like to simulcast. Evolve. People watch your stream on YouTube, even without buying. Stay in your lane. Absolutely. Gem City says, here's how you do it. Trout card at $1 and go. Yeah, I don't think I want to risk putting the trout on eBay Live. Low Roller, got a new video soon. It will be a different video. All right, we'll tune in. When's it going to be out? Zach says, right now you were selling quarter and 50-cent cards for $5. That sounds good to me. I agree. And I've got endless inventory of that stuff. $100 have less liquidity and therefore more downside. Not a good niche for live auctions, my opinion, of course. I agree. Now, I will say at card shows, $100 cards, super liquid. This $100 to $500 cards is the sweet spot. In fact, I would say $100 to $500 cards are more liquid than my bargain boxes. You know, now it all depends on both sides. What are you selling for $100 and $500 cards? It's within comps and it's a liquid card. Absolutely. Same with the bargain boxes. If you've got cards worth more than a quarter in your dollar boxes and they're shiny and it's Patrick Mahomes and Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani, they're going to sell. They're going to be liquid. So of course there's caveats to everything, but the people that are buying, the buyers at card shows are buying $100 to $500 cards because that's the sweet spot. But once you get to $1,000 cards, then you become less liquid on getting rid of those. Unicorn Cupcake says, FYI, on eBay, I'm Jalapa 6. Oh, it's pronounced Jalapa. It is a city in Mexico, home of the jalapeno. Interesting. Okay, Jalapa. Thank you. Dan says, of course I've seen it. Children of the Corn Part 2. Low Roller says, physical disc is king since you can own forever. Streaming, you don't own it even if you buy digital purchase of movies. They can take away digital movies purchase and take it away from you. Well, I don't do any of the above. I don't want physical copies of a movie because most movies are accessible on a streaming platform, and I don't want to own it. If I wanted to, I don't want to own Children of the Corn, any of them, and I don't want to pay for them either. Like if they're free, I'll watch them. If they're not free, I'll watch something else. It's not that important to me. Uncle Rich, good morning. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. Oh, and as I mentioned in the Facebook Hobby Evolution chat, I was actually offered bribes for tables at my small show this weekend. Thank you, Uncle Rich, for the reminder because I totally forgot. So yes, this happens to me at the Madison Card Show. I have accepted, and I wouldn't call it a bribe. So I have a dealer that pays me 3 times the mark, and I'll just say it. Well, it's less than 3 times now. He pays me $150 for his location at the card show. And it's a 6-foot table. Normal tables run $60 at my show. So until he offered it to me, I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do that. Because I've had people offer me as much as $200 for a table. I turned that down, and I turned many of those down because sometimes they wanted to be in a certain location. It's like, no, that's where XYZ is located. I'm not going to boot them out for money. But if I have a table open and you're willing to pay me to get in the show, I'll absolutely take your money. But yeah, I have declined. When I went from 3 rooms to 2 last summer, because it was kind of a mutual agreement to stop doing the 3rd ballroom. I mean, they would still allow me to do it, but they wanted like a deposit, and I was making a couple $100, and I was setting the room up myself. It's like, let's just downsize. And so I had, after doing it for a few months, you get regulars in that room. And so I had a couple people in that room offer me up to $200 for a table. And I said, that's not fair because I don't want to kick somebody else out. If I have an opening, I'll let you in. I'm going to charge you actually, it's not market price, the sticker price on the table. So, yes, it happens. And, at this time, I'm sure it's happening more and more at more and more card shows. People want that prime space, and it's the prime real estate. It's buyers that want that space because they want to be the first table where somebody comes in with a collection or with cards. They want to be the first to get that deal. And that's why at the Alliant Energy Center, the tables closest to the entrance have a premium. And because there's, if somebody's paying me $150 for the Sheraton, I think we can turn that into the same price at the Alliant Energy Center show. June 21st. By the way, tables I got another email. Just wanted to know when tables, it's like same as the email I sent last week. They're going to go on sale later this week. So hopefully I hear back from the city today or tomorrow, hopefully today. And then we can get, and then I want to do a test run, and then we'll get those tables on sale. Zach says, piggybacking off UC's comment, Bo, were you told not to use our government names in the eBay Live? You stopped calling me Zach and started calling me by my eBay handle. Got to be honest, it's a turn on. No, you mentioned it in the chat. So since you mentioned it in the chat, I'm like, okay, I'm going to call it by eBay names. No, nobody told me not to use names. So, no, I can call you Zach on eBay Live if you want me to. I'll call you whatever you want. I'm for the people. Low Roller says, you heard Walmart raises prices due to Trump's tariffs. How much blasters cost now? I don't know. Rich says, I was never so happy to see Kyle Robertson and his DCS team announce a show on Saturday, so now I can funnel all of those people to him. LOL. Zach says, LRS, fake news. Countries and corporations pay the tariffs. We don't get impacted. The country doesn't pay tariffs. We pay tariffs. That's not fake news. Walmart wouldn't pay tariffs. They end up passing the cost of the consumer. That's not fake news. Gem City says, topic idea, the importance of growing your network when at card shows. Oh, yeah, that's something I've mentioned throughout. Not really a topic that I've specifically stated, but I definitely talk about it a lot. It is, if you want to, and it usually comes, usually when I mention this, it's when I see people, well, that never happens to me. I never get deals like that. How come I can never find that? Well, you've got a network. A lot of deals come through networking. And really, to be honest, the number one thing to do is look. Just fucking look. And you'll find some deals. Expand your network. A lot of times, and it may not, I talked to, here's how awesome networking is. So there's a gentleman in the Chicago area who lines up buyers and sellers. He reached out to Ty from Chasing Cardboard about a collection. Ty wasn't interested. Passed him on to James. James wasn't interested. James reached out to me. He said, hey, I've got this guy. He's got a collection. He's in Chicago, close to you, right up your alley. Here's his number. All right. I reach out to him. I'm like, hey, I got your contact from James at Chasing Cardboard. And he's like, yeah, so here's what it is. And it was the guy that he had who was selling it was a little overpriced. I'm like, yeah, we're pretty far off on price. This is where I'm at. But I appreciate it. Like a day or two later, he reaches out, and now he's got a collection with like Babe Ruth and Type 1 photos, totally outside my wheelhouse. I'm like, that's not for me, but I know somebody who is, one of my buddies. And so I reach out to my buddy. I send him screenshots of what's in the collection. He's like, oh yeah, send me the contact information. He had a 90-minute Zoom call with this guy and the guy whose collection it was. And they're, working through this. This guy reached back in. He goes, so you're not into that. He goes, I know what your price was on this. He's like, what are you looking for? And so I said, this is essentially what I'm looking for. I'm looking for bulk. Like that first collection you sent me is exactly what I'm looking for. But the price, and he knew the price was high. I'm like, but that's the type of stuff I'm looking for. he sent me another contact. And so now now we've been communicating back and forth and might get a deal done, because I know based on the first piece of the collection, it's like, that's a good price. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Now he's got a bunch of sets from the years I'm looking for, and hopefully we can make a deal on that stuff as well. That's all, it may not be, I know Ty and I did some videos. I know James through Ty and through Hobby Evolution in the Hobby Evolution Facebook group. I didn't get a deal. I didn't get cards. We didn't buy or sell to each other, but we passed our names. He passed my name on to somebody who passed my name on to somebody. So it's that, put yourself out there. And that's the importance of growing your network, because if you meet anybody in this chat, they may not be somebody that has something for you, but they may know somebody, especially if you're looking for, not a lot of people want bulk 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s. It's when in the grand scheme of things, it's a pretty small percentage of people within the hobby that are looking for that type of stuff. So when you find that type of buyer, seller, you're top of mind when it comes to that, because a lot of people that's just other stuff. Like, I bought this collection that had the Babe Ruths and the Mickey Mantles and all this, but then there was like a bunch of like 78 top sets and 85 tops and this stuff. I don't want that. I want the cream of the crop. And that's where I come in. And that's my wheelhouse. So it's very important to network, and you can network at card shows. You can network through Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist. I was going to look at Craigslist the other day. I don't even know the last time I bought something on Craigslist. Zach says, LRS, that is not what I was told. Uncle Rich says, remind me what time you will be on eBay Live this morning, 10 a.m. Central, eBay Live. It's MLB Monday, baseball only, and we're taking requests. I'm going to try to run, I'm not going to try. I am going to run 200 auctions later this morning on eBay Live. Dan says, I've been watching a lot of horror thus far this year. Would recommend Nosferatu, Longlegs, No One Gets Out Alive, Oddity, Speak No Evil, The Menu. Interesting. Dane, what's going on? He was in my lot sale stream yesterday. I should have bid up every lot to at least $1 per card. Totally would have been worth it. It would have been. The lots that I had, I mean, yeah, there were quarter cards in there. But there were also $5 and $10 cards, especially if I would do a single sale. And here's the conundrum. Somebody had and they may or may not be in this chat. They may or may not be on I-35 right now. But they asked me a question after the sale. And let me see what, I don't want to misquote. So what's your most economical auction form, singles or lots? Seemed like deals were to be had on the lots on a per card basis. And that's absolutely true, at about 70 cents a card. Here's the thing though. A lot of those cards, even like the dollar cards, sell on eBay Live at times. Depends on who's in the room, for up to $5, maybe even. And some of that's the auctions, some of the autographs and patches would have went for $10. But I sold over 2,000 cards in about 2 hours. It would have taken me 10 to 12 hours of singles auctions on eBay Live to sell 2,000 cards. So that's where you're weighing it. Now, the good thing about this is that I have so much inventory that I can move through and I can sell some of this stuff at 70 cents a card in those progressive lots, instead of sitting on it, because there's, an easy $1,000 right there in a 2 hour time span. That's pretty good return. But now I also had to curate those, and I put some time into doing that as well. So will I stop doing progressive lots? Absolutely not. In fact, maybe I'll do a progressive lot today, do a baseball only progressive lot. just to burn through some inventory. So that's the way. And so, one of the early lots went for, I think the first lot went for like $34. And I'm like, ooh, maybe this wasn't a good idea. But then the second lot went for like $110. And I'm like, oh, hey, now we're averaging out. And so the first, I don't know, 5 to 10 auctions went for an average of $50, went for an average of $1 a card. But then as we got towards the end, the last few auctions, then, we saw some auctions going for $18. One went for $17. Now I'm $50. Getting to $1 a card would have been a win at the end of the progressives. So, and that's why I think I'll sprinkle in progressive auctions during like a stream today. Like, hey, let's do a progressive. Let's do a random progressive auction. Gem City says VHS is the GOAT of nostalgia movie night. Wasn't there anything better than on a Friday? Like, this is Small Town Americana 1993. It's a Friday. You get home from school, you watch whatever's on, and it's Pizza Hut night. And so you go to usually you go, I'm trying to think of what our routine was. If we went to Walmart first and then Pizza Hut, I think that's what we would do. Mom gets home from work at like 5. It's like 5:30, 6 o'clock. We go to Walmart. I go to the, in 93, I was at the baseball card section. A couple of years later, I was in the magazine aisle. But 93, I'm going to the baseball card section. I'm looking at Fleer Ultra basketball from 92, 93. I'm looking at classic draft picks and 4Sport, getting some packs of cards. Then we go to Pizza Hut. And I have a personal pan pizza because I read my books and I got the Book It pen. I get those cheesy garlic bread before the pizza comes out. And I eat my pizza. I'm playing Road Rash. I'm playing Cruising USA in the arcade, the little arcade room in the corner. And then we go to Family Video. Shane knows Family Video on the S-Curves in Kewanee. We go to Family Video. It's like, I'm going to rent NBA Jam on Sega Genesis. And then I'm going to rent some VHS tapes of WrestleMania 1 and 2, the old stuff that I haven't seen before. Man, that's a Friday night in the 90s. Oh, take me back, baby. Friday night in the 90s. Walmart, basketball cards, Pizza Hut pan pizzas, wrestling on VHS, and renting Sega Genesis games. Dan says, I thought you mentioned part 1. I'm not sure if I've seen Children of the Corn 2. Don't think I have. I would recommend it. It's on Pluto. I don't know if you can get Pluto in Korea, but it's on Pluto TV, the app. Children of the Corn part 2. It's actually pretty good. I'm a fan. It's and it doesn't it's a good sequel. It is, I would say it's a good sequel. Gem City says, I bet Children of the Corn on VHS is $20. Buy it now. Well, let's see. Children of the Corn VHS. Damn close. A beat up copy is $16 or best offer. Well, this one, it's got a better cover. This one you can get for $10. Wow, this one looks like it's still. Oh wait, I think that's a modern copy. $15 and it's sealed, but I don't know. That could be an aftermarket shrink wrap. Oh, that is the original though. Oh wait, this is 2001. All right. So yeah, pretty close. $10 to $20, $10 to $15. Where are we at? Rich says, yeah, bribes is not the right word, but my real problem is I have a 20-table show and don't have the bandwidth. And that's why I've turned down the whatever word you want to use, because I'm not going to boot a regular or somebody that's already confirmed because somebody wants to pay more. I'm not in that business. But if I have an opening and you're offering to pay me to get in the show, yeah, I'll take your money. Absolutely. Shane says, I've started noticing that live sellers are very likely becoming some of my biggest eBay buyers. Makes sense based on what I sell. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, and that's, I'm looking for 80s football. So Shane, if you want to buy more cards, there's not going to be any 80s football in there. But yeah, it's like, I mean, like I'm pulling stuff that I've pulled for you. Like a Frank Thomas Fleer medal was in like a box with Shane's name on. I'm like, oh, I'm going to go through here. What do I have in here? And $5 for a Fleer medal Frank Thomas on Saturday night in my pop-up sale. It's like, oh, okay. Low Roller says, I saw my new competitor on Skill Games yesterday in a new location. Oh, the bike rider. He rides a bike, homeless person, and he also gambles his money. He's a different guy. My other competitor rides a bike. Oh, so Low Roller has two competitors. The homeless guy who has a bike and the other bike rider. I'm wondering, Low Roller, now that there's two competitors who ride bikes, does that give them some sort of competitive advantage? I'm thinking there's some strategy behind biking to the Skill Games, because what if your bus is late? The bike can beat the bus. So I'm thinking the bike riders may have the edge on you. I'm thinking there's some strategy, homeless or not. Max says literal definition of a bribe, but your show, your rules, just arguing word definition. Let me see. Let me look up the literal definition of bribe. Bribe definition. Persuade someone to act in one's favor, typically illegally or dishonestly, by a gift of money or other inducement. I would not say this is a bribe. I mean, I wouldn't consider this dishonest, or it's certainly not illegal. It's definitely persuading to act in one's favor, but not dishonestly or illegally. So I'm going to say not a bribe. Unicorn Cupcake says, is he more skilled at the games than you? Selling premium tables for more money is fine. In the room I'm now in, there really isn't a premium table either. Yeah, and that's kind of what in my location there is. You know, the entryway is definitely a premium location, but once you get into the rooms, not really. Maybe up front I could mark some at a little bit of a premium, but I probably won't. So let's see. Rich says, off the top of my head, I enjoyed when Bo called me Uncle Rich yesterday after starting with Saber. Call him Zach. Zach. Low Roller says, I am free bonuses checker and take partial bets on Skill Games. I am smarter gambler now and have a budget how much money I can afford to lose. Gem City says, hey, you call me Dragon or I'm out. Call me Mike Smith. I haven't seen Low Roller Scratcher pop into my eBay lives yet. Max says, either no network, you're a douche, or you don't pay well enough, or a combo, LOL. Low Roller says, don't forget you can network with yard sale, garage sale, flea market for sports cards. Yeah, absolutely. That's something here's one of the easiest ways, especially this time of year. There's garage sales everywhere. Take a Saturday morning, go to garage sales, look for cards. If you don't see cards, ask, especially if you see sports equipment or if you see, and I guess it kind of depends, but just ask, like, hey, do you have any sports cards? And it doesn't even, you don't even have to like see, well, they have sports equipment, they must have sports cards somewhere. Doesn't even have to be that. Sometimes you can go up and they may not have anything sports related. Like, do you happen to have any sports cards? They're like, well, yeah. And sometimes they're like, you can just have them. Or like, yeah, I don't know, $5 because they don't want them, or no, I don't. And here networking, I don't, but the neighbor, they have a bunch of cards. Max says the menu is great. The movie, The Menu. Gem City says, again, I ask, what furniture piece is needed in the eBay live stream living room? Might I suggest a rug? We've got the couch. The best part of your Progressive lots is you can pick, pack, and ship items in 45 seconds or under, 80 mailings an hour. That is true. They're already packed. Like once I pack them up, actually it might be 45 seconds because I've got to put the cardboard and, tape it up or put it in a box. But there you go. And yeah, and the price is higher. And they're already in their assigned team bag. Low Roller says, did Collects contact you to do a sponsor since they have a new sports card subscription card? They will send you 5 different packs each month based on new releases. I did see that. Graded VHS and graded DVD can be worth a lot of money in the future. Johnny M, good morning. With live selling, you will 5x your goal of 35% growth this year. You probably had about $7 cost of goods at most of the lots last night. You are a marketing genius. Peter, what's happening? Good morning. Dan downloads everything on torrent. Oh, so you probably have everything at your disposal. Low Roller says new Saturday main event in WWE, NBC, and Peacock next week. Maybe I'll tune in. VHS horror. Don't sleep on it. That dude from Duryea says 80s horror movies are the most sought after VHS from what I have experienced. Sealed copies are gold. Interesting. Max says horror VHS, good to sell. Weirder the better. Think non-mainstream stuff. Rich says it's not illegal, Max, in my case. Gem City says figure out his bike route. Drop some nickels on the ground. He will bike slower because he will be picking up a few cents. Chess, not checkers. Now that's strategy. Bus is still faster than riding a bike. What if the bus is late? I can go to different cities. Bus disadvantage, do bus schedules. Dishonest, yes, LOL. Skipping the line is dishonesty. I'll just make it an auction. Then it's you want tables at the Madison Card Show? All right. Start the bid process. Then everybody's on equal ground and the highest bidder wins. Now it's a fair game. Unicorn Cupcake says deflating tires could be a competitive advantage or deterrent for them to keep coming to your locations. Max says, LRS, shouldn't you have a chauffeur by now with all the gains of Bitcoin? That's a good point. Bitcoin. Tom says the back left corner upstairs at the Madison Card Show is definitely a premium location. Low Roller says, I got different types of new competitors who just walk, even people using cars. Oh, the insanity. How dare they use cars? Bars, gas stations, my gosh. LRS, I think Buffett had a similar quote in his last earnings call. Tracy wants to know what Chain's eBay seller name is. Low Roller says, I use some of my skill games profit to buy sports card blasters and crypto. If I get a case hit, I will end up selling the card at a card show. Madison Card Show, you should come out here, is Saturday, June 21st at the Alliant Energy Center. Dealer tables will be going on sale later this week. So I will be sending out announcements on that this week. Saturday, June 21st. I almost said the other location. Saturday, June 21st, Alliant Energy Center, just off of John Nolan Drive. It's to the left if you're coming in from the south, off the Beltline. 250 tables, $5 admission, free parking. There's Shane's username on eBay, Iowa Collectors Superstore. eBay Live coming up today, 10 a.m. Central, MLB Monday. Baseball only coming up today, 10 o'clock. Join me on eBay Live. Direct link to the auction is in my description. eBay store is 99centcards.com. Buy 7 or more buy it now cards at regular price. You'll save 25% off at checkout over at 99centcards.com. I'm going to wrap it up. Get ready for the sale. Take Ernie to school. Have a wonderful Monday, and I'll see you in an hour and 15 minutes over on eBay Live. See you then.